Well, everybody, it is the most wonderful time of the year. It is officially draft season. We're joined by Todd McShay, ESPN's resident expert. Todd, how's Indy treating you?
It's good. I mean, it's snowing out. I'm looking outside. It's like, I don't know, 25 degrees and got an inch or two on the ground. But other than that, it's great. We've been inside, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, we're about to get hit with a blizzard in Buffalo, so enjoy the little snow that is falling out there. Todd,
when aren't you guys getting hit with a blizzard?
Hey, it was like 40 the other day. It wasn't bad, so we're getting treated pretty nice right now. But before I ask anything about this year, I do want to know, just looking back, I know 1 year isn't fair to evaluate a draft class, but it seems like from the Bills' standpoint, they kind of did well with Ed Oliver, Cody Ford, Singletary, and Dawson Knox. Just what are your initial impressions of those guys?
Well, I think it was a good group. It really was. And you feel comfortable with your quarterback as well from a couple of years ago. But Ed Oliver comes in, and he's going to continue to get better. And his versatility up front, he really sets the tone defensively. And so, it's a building block. And I think defensively is where they really, I thought, continued to improve a year ago. They coached the defensive side so well in that organization. So I think they'll continue to get better. They've got to get more consistent now in the passing game. I think they've got to get some depth and some future, if you will, at the running back position, wide receiver, and some playmakers on the offensive side to go along with Josh Allen and that big arm and the ability to throw the ball vertically and his running capability as well. But defensively, I think they found some more cornerstones, and they're always going to be strong on that side of the ball.
So when we kind of look big picture here, I've heard so many times from you and some of your colleagues that this is a super deep draft for the talent positions, which is, I think, refreshing for Bills fans to hear because a lot of people want them to go in that direction. How strong is this class when we're talking about, wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends?
It's one of the deepest wide receiver classes I can remember in the last 20 years of evaluating. I mean, you're talking about 7 players potentially at the wide receiver spot that could go in the first round. And then I've got 20 players right now that have grades in the first 3 rounds, both of which would be records. I mean, 6 is the most we've seen in the first round in the last decade. And so if we have 7, then that would be the most in 11 years. So to me, there's plenty of talent on that side of the ball. There's plenty of skill position players, and we usually are complaining about the lack of wide receivers and running backs. And, in addition to the wide receivers, the running backs, everyone's kind of overlooking this group. DeAndre Swift is an explosive difference maker coming out of Georgia. Then after that, you've got J.K. Dobbins, who is just so productive and such a good runner inside the tackles, also has the deep speed, and also can catch the football. Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin. Yes, he fumbles the ball. Yes, he's had some issues in pass protection, but this guy can catch the ball reasonably well, and he's the only running back in the history of the FBS to have 3 consecutive years of over 1,900 rushing yards. And then, oh, by the way, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back from LSU, he was probably the MVP on that team, even though everyone talks about Joe Burrow and the season that he had. If you ask Joe who the best player on that football team is, he's going to tell you that it was Clyde. So you're talking about 4 running backs right there, somewhere in the top 50 picks, and I think the Bills have a chance maybe early in the second round to get one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely running back's a position that they could address. I know a lot of fans are happy with Singletary, as they should be after last year. Specifically with the wide receivers, though, probably a pipe dream that Judy or CeeDee Lamb would fall to the Bills. But realistically, of the guys that are in that upper echelon,
definitely a pipe dream.
Yeah, who could be there at 22, assuming that they don't move up?
Yeah, after Judy and Lamb, I think it's kind of a cluster. T. Higgins is a big physical receiver, 6'4", 220 coming out of Clemson. LSU's Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver in this class outside of the top 2 in terms of contested catches. This guy, he knows how to separate late. He's physical. He's got like that power forward ability to box out and use his body to shield defenders and go up and get the football. And you saw it in the national championship game. You saw it in the playoff, in the SEC championship game. I mean, he was the standout towards the end of the year. So those are 2 guys that I think would fit and would give some kind of presence down the field and a guy that can go up and get that 50-50 ball when Josh Allen extends the play and just puts it up for grabs.
What if they go defense? Because Brandon Beane says this. I think every GM says this. We want to take the best player available. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it isn't true. They love the defense here. Obviously, it's the better side of the ball. But if they go defense, are we thinking edge rusher, maybe cornerback, someone alongside Tre'Davious White? What makes the most sense from your perspective?
Yeah, the cornerback group is good in the beginning, and then it kind of tails off, and then it gets stronger in the second, third round. So I could see, C.J. Henderson's probably going to be the second corner taken after Jeff Okudah. Okudah from Ohio State, Henderson from Florida. And then after that, there is a drop-off in terms of the corners in this year's class. So I think if they're not going to get one of those top two guys. So if they don't, then you probably look in the second, third round to get a corner. Edge rusher, Chase Young from Ohio State is going to probably be the second overall pick going to the Washington Redskins. Then to me, like A.J. Epinesa from Iowa is a good fit. He's at that 22nd overall pick is probably a good value at that spot. Yetur Gross-Matos, the defensive end from Penn State, is another player in that late first round range. So there are a couple defensive ends at that spot, but my guess is finding an offensive playmaker and a guy who can be a weapon and help advance this offense for Josh Allen would be the route they go in round one, and then shift the focus back to the defensive side on day two.
It is going to be quite a fun couple months. Todd, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the week in the Combine, and enjoy draft season.
All right, thank you.